The 23rd floor of Coal Industries had never been quiet at 9 in the morning. Phones rang behind glass office walls. Assistants crossed the polished marble corridor carrying tablets and coffee. Analysts hurried between conference rooms preparing for what should have been one of the most important days in the company's history. But that morning, the executive floor felt unnaturally still. Claire Bennett noticed it the moment the elevator doors opened. Conversations stopped as she walked past. People looked away. Her phone had buzzed at 7:12 that morning with a message from Adrian Cole's assistant. Emergency executive meeting. 9 a.m. boardroom. Attendance mandatory. Nothing else. Claire had spent 5 years at Coal Industries, 3 of them as director of corporate strategy. She knew an ordinary crisis when she saw one. This wasn't ordinary. She entered the boardroom at 8:58. Adrian Cole stood at the far end of the long walnut table. At 37, Adrian had already built a reputation as one of the most demanding executives in the logistics industry. He rarely raised his voice. He didn't need to. A quiet sentence from Adrian could make an entire room reconsider its decisions. That morning, however, something beneath his composure looked dangerously close to anger. Marcus Hale sat 2 seats from him. The 42-year-old CFO had worked beside Adrian for nearly 15 years. Marcus was more than an executive. He was one of the few people Adrian trusted without hesitation. Claire immediately understood that whatever was happening had already been discussed without her. She took her usual seat. "What's going on?" Adrian looked at her. For several seconds, he said nothing. Then he pushed a folder across the table. "Our acquisition offer was leaked last night." Claire didn't touch the folder. Coal Industries had spent 4 months preparing a confidential acquisition of Westbridge Freight, a regional transportation company whose distribution hubs would give coal access to several critical markets. Only 7 executives knew the final offer. Claire was one of them. "How much was leaked?" "Everything," Marcus answered. Claire turned toward him. "Valuation?" "Yes." "Negotiation ceiling?" "Yes." "Expansion projections?" Marcus nodded. "The rival bidder received enough information to outbid us by exactly the amount necessary." Claire finally opened the folder. There were access logs, timestamps, internal server records. Her eyes moved quickly across the pages. Then stopped. Her employee credentials appeared beside the downloaded files. She looked up. "These aren't complete logs." Adrian's expression hardened. "They came directly from cybersecurity." "Then cybersecurity gave you an incomplete report." A few executives shifted uncomfortably. Marcus leaned back. "Claire, your credentials accessed the acquisition files at 11:43 Tuesday night. I was in Chicago Tuesday night." "We know." "Then you also know I wasn't inside this building." "Remote access," Marcus said. Claire studied him. There was something almost too prepared about his answer. She turned toward Adrian. "Who conducted the investigation?" "Marcus supervised it." That explained more than Adrian realized. Claire closed the folder. "I want the raw server logs." Marcus frowned. "Why?" "Because this report shows authentication, not routing." Silence. Claire continued. "If someone used my credentials through a mirrored session, these pages wouldn't show it. I need the gateway records." Marcus glanced toward Adrian. It lasted barely a second. But Claire saw it. And suddenly the uncomfortable suspicion she had carried for nearly 3 weeks became something much colder. She had been watching unusual access patterns inside Coal Industries' experimental logistics division. One of her young programmers, Noah Reeves, had come to her terrified after discovering that portions of an algorithm they were developing had been copied without authorization. Noah had refused to explain everything. He only said someone powerful was threatening him. Claire had spent 2 weeks quietly gathering evidence. She had not expected Marcus to move first. Adrian stepped closer to the table. "Did you access those files?" "No." "Did anyone on your team?" "Not with my authorization." "That's not what I asked." Claire's jaw tightened. "I don't know." That answer changed the room. Adrian stared at her. "You don't know? There are circumstances you haven't investigated." "Then explain them." Claire looked briefly at Marcus. "Not yet." Noah's work formed the core architecture of a predictive logistics system Claire believed could change the way distribution networks responded to disruptions. More importantly, Noah himself was frightened enough that he had begged Claire not to involve corporate security. If Marcus was behind the pressure on him, revealing Noah now would expose the only witness she had before she could protect him. She needed time. "I can't explain everything yet." Adrian's disbelief was immediate. "You're asking me to ignore evidence because you can't explain it?" "I'm asking you to investigate properly." "I did." "No." Marcus did. The room went completely silent. Marcus's expression changed. Only slightly. But Claire saw that too. Adrian's voice lowered. "Be very careful." Claire stood. "You brought me into a room full of executives, put my name beside a crime, and apparently decided the conclusion before I arrived. Don't tell me to be careful." Something flashed across Adrian's face. For years, their arguments had been legendary inside Cole Industries. Claire challenged him when everyone else retreated. Adrian infuriated her because he expected excellence and considered compromise a weakness. Somewhere along the way, irritation had become something neither of them discussed. Long meetings that lasted unnecessarily late. Glances held a second too long. Arguments neither seemed eager to end. Whatever had existed between them disappeared now. Adrian placed both hands on the table. "Did you share confidential information with anyone outside Cole Industries?" "No." "Can you explain why your credentials accessed those documents?" "Not yet." "Can you give me one reason to disregard the investigation?" "Yes." He waited. "Because you know me." Adrian's expression became unreadable. Claire immediately regretted saying it. Not because it wasn't true. Because it asked him to choose trust over evidence. And Adrian Cole worshipped evidence. "This isn't personal," he said. Claire gave a humorless smile. "It becomes personal when you're accusing someone of betrayal." Adrian looked around the table. Then back at her. "Effective immediately, your employment with Cole Industries is terminated." Nobody moved. Claire felt the words land, but she refused to let anyone see where they hit. 5 years. Thousands of hours. Projects she had rescued. Deals she had helped build. And this was how it ended. In front of 12 people. Without a real investigation. Claire slowly removed her company identification card and placed it on the table. Adrian's eyes followed the movement. For the first time that morning, uncertainty appeared in his face. Claire picked up her notebook. "Someday," she said quietly, "you're going to realize that the worst decision you made today wasn't firing me." Adrian said nothing. "It was deciding who you trusted before you knew the truth." She walked out. Only when the elevator doors closed did Claire allow herself to breathe. Her hands were shaking. She pressed the button for the lobby, then pulled out her personal phone. There were 3 unread messages from Noah. The latest had arrived 6 minutes earlier. "He knows we found the copied code." Claire's anger disappeared. This was bigger than her job now. She called Daniel Kim. He answered on the second ring. "Claire? It's happening sooner than expected." A pause. How bad? They fired me. What? Daniel, listen. We don't have time. The elevator descended. 21. 20. 19. Get Noah out of the building. Use the plan we discussed. No company laptop, no company phone, nothing connected to Cole's network. Claire. Do it now. Daniel heard something in her voice and stopped questioning her. What about the prototype? Claire looked at her reflection in the elevator doors. 6 months of private planning had suddenly become 6 minutes. Move everything that's legally ours. And the architecture? Noah owns his original framework. Make sure every record proving that is copied somewhere Marcus can't touch. Daniel became quiet. You think Hale did this? I think Marcus wanted me gone. Why? Claire looked down at the folder she had carried from the boardroom. She had deliberately taken it. Marcus had been so confident that he hadn't noticed. I intend to find out. The elevator reached the lobby. Claire stepped into the marble atrium where she had walked to work almost every morning for 5 years. Security was already waiting near the exit. Of course Adrian had arranged that too. She surrendered her access card even though the boardroom copy had already been deactivated, handed over her company phone, and walked toward the revolving doors. Outside, morning sunlight reflected from the glass towers surrounding downtown Chicago. Her career at Cole Industries was over. Her reputation might soon follow. But Marcus had made one mistake. He had assumed that getting Claire Bennett out of the building meant removing her from the game. Claire pulled out her personal phone again. Daniel had sent one message. Noah is with me. We're leaving now. Claire stared at it for several seconds. Then she typed back. Take him somewhere safe. We start today. Across the street, she looked up at the 23rd floor. Somewhere behind those windows, Adrian probably believed he had just protected his company. Claire knew better. If her suspicions were right, the real threat was still sitting beside him. And by the time Adrian discovered that truth, Claire intended to make sure Marcus Hale could never reach Noah, or the technology he had tried to steal, again. 6 months later, Adrian Cole sat at the head of the same walnut table where he had fired Claire Bennett and watched 3 members of his board question whether he should still be sitting there. The irony wasn't lost on him. 17%. Richard Lawson, the board's senior independent director, slid a report across the table. That's how much Northstar Global has accumulated through direct holdings and aligned investors during the last 4 months. Adrian didn't touch the report. He had already read it twice. Northstar Global had spent years trying to penetrate the transportation markets dominated by Cole Industries. Direct competition had failed, so they had apparently chosen another strategy. Buy influence. Weaken confidence. Wait for shareholders to turn against the man running the company. The annual shareholders meeting is 11 weeks away, Richard continued. If the distribution numbers don't improve before then, Northstar won't need to buy Cole Industries. They'll convince our shareholders to hand it to them, Marcus Hale said. Adrian glanced toward him. Marcus had been beside him through 3 recessions, 2 failed acquisitions, and more corporate battles than Adrian cared to count. Lately, even Marcus looked concerned. Our Midwest network lost another 4% in efficiency last quarter, Marcus continued. Westbridge would have solved half of this. Nobody needed reminding why Cole Industries didn't own Westbridge Freight. The acquisition had collapsed 6 months earlier after their confidential offer was leaked. Claire's leak. Adrian pushed the thought away. Westbridge is gone, he said. So we stopped discussing what we should have had and fix what we still have. Richard leaned forward. With what? Adrian pressed a button. A presentation appeared on the screen. Nexus Dynamic Logistics. For the first time that morning, several board members looked interested. The platform uses predictive modeling to reroute inventory before disruptions reach distribution centers, Adrian explained. Fuel shortages, weather delays, labor interruptions, port congestion. It responds before traditional systems recognize the problem. Marcus studied the numbers. Projected efficiency gain? Between 14 and 19%. Richard looked up. That's enough. Potentially. Who owns it? Adrian changed the slide. Bennett Kim Technologies. He stared at the name. Something about it had bothered him since his acquisition team first brought the company to him 3 weeks earlier. Bennett was not an unusual surname. He had told himself that repeatedly. Then he had seen the technical documentation. The language. The architecture. The obsession with contingency modeling. It reminded him of someone. But he had dismissed the possibility. Claire Bennett had disappeared from corporate logistics after leaving coal industries. No interviews. No lawsuits. No public accusations. Nothing. Adrian had expected anger. Instead, she had simply vanished. "We acquire them," he said. Marcus frowned. "They're small." Which makes the acquisition easier. The founders have already rejected 2 offers. Then the offers weren't good enough. Richard almost smiled. "Still solving everything by buying it, Adrian? If buying it works." The meeting ended 20 minutes later. At 1:55 that afternoon, Adrian entered a smaller conference room for what his acquisitions team had described as the final negotiation. Daniel Kim was already there. 35, relaxed, irritatingly confident. Adrian had met him twice. Daniel was the public face of Bennett Kim Technologies, and so far he had rejected every attempt to reveal much about the company's other owner. Adrian took his seat. "Mr. Kim." "Mr. Cole." Adrian's attorney opened the acquisition package. "We've increased the offer by 22%. Daniel didn't look at it. "We're not selling." Adrian leaned back. "Then why are we meeting?" "Because you keep asking." "I'm serious." "So am I." Daniel's mouth curved slightly. "We're willing to license Nexus under a joint venture. We don't license critical infrastructure." "You do now." Adrian stared at him. Daniel remained perfectly comfortable. "I don't build my company's future around technology controlled by someone else." "Interesting. What is?" "You seem comfortable building it around people you control." Adrian's expression cooled. Before he could answer, the conference room door opened. He heard heels against the floor. Then a familiar voice. "Sorry I'm late." Adrian stopped moving. Claire Bennett walked into the room. For 6 months, he had occasionally imagined seeing her again. Usually those imaginary encounters involved explanations. Sometimes anger. Once or twice, an apology he never quite managed to formulate. None looked like this. Claire wore a dark navy suit over a simple cream blouse. Her hair fell loosely to her shoulders rather than being pinned back the way she had worn it at Coal Industries. But the biggest difference wasn't her appearance. It was the way she entered the room. She wasn't returning to her former workplace. She was entering a negotiation she controlled. Daniel stood. Perfect timing. Adrian looked from him to Claire. "No." Claire placed a folder on the table. "That's an unusual greeting." "Bennett Kim." "Yes." Adrian almost laughed, although nothing about the situation was funny. "You're Bennett." "I usually am." Daniel hid a smile. Adrian's attorney suddenly became fascinated with his notes. Claire sat opposite Adrian. "Shall we?" Adrian ignored the documents. "You own Nexus?" 51%. His eyes narrowed. You developed this in 6 months? We finished it in 6 months. The distinction immediately caught his attention. Finished? Claire met his gaze. Some of the architecture existed before Bennett Kim Technologies. At Cole Industries? No. Her answer came too quickly and too confidently to challenge without evidence. Everything owned by Cole Industries remained with Cole Industries when I left. Our intellectual property attorneys can provide the documentation. Adrian looked at Daniel. You knew she worked for me. Daniel shrugged. She mentioned it. She was director of corporate strategy. That sounds more impressive than the way she described it. Claire turned slightly. Daniel. What? You said the ending wasn't pleasant. Despite himself, Adrian felt something dangerously close to amusement. He suppressed it. Why didn't you tell my acquisition team you were involved? Claire opened the folder. Because your acquisition team was evaluating the technology, not my resume. You knew eventually we'd be sitting here. Of course. And you enjoyed that. For the first time, a small smile appeared. A little. Adrian stared at her. There she was. The Claire he remembered. The woman who could disagree with him in a room full of executives without raising her voice. The woman who had once told him his 5-year expansion plan was a beautifully formatted disaster. The woman he had fired. Claire pushed a document toward him. We aren't accepting your acquisition offer. I heard. We'll give Cole Industries exclusive North American access to Nexus for 5 years. Under whose control? Ours. No. Then this meeting can be very short. Claire began closing the folder. Adrian's attorney looked alarmed. Ms. Bennett. Adrian raised a hand. Claire stopped. What are your terms? She opened the folder again. Joint Implementation Authority. My technical team remains independent. No Cole executive can remove Bennett Kim personnel from the project without my approval. Adrian understood immediately. That clause wasn't about technology. It was about her. You expect veto authority inside my company? Only over our system and our people. I don't share operational control. Claire leaned forward. Then enjoy explaining 17% to your shareholders. Adrian's expression changed. Daniel looked at her. Even Adrian's attorney went still. How do you know that number? Adrian asked. North Star's position isn't exactly a secret if you know where to look. You've been studying Cole Industries. I've been studying a potential client. That's not the same thing. No, Claire said. It isn't. For several seconds, neither spoke. 6 months earlier, Claire had sat across from him with her career in his hands. Now the balance had reversed. And she knew it. Adrian should have hated that. Part of him did. Another part was impressed. Anything else? Yes. Claire pushed another page toward him. Any dispute between our companies goes to independent arbitration. You don't get unilateral termination authority. His eyes met hers. Another message. You will never fire me again. Adrian looked down at the contract. Nexus could save tens of millions of dollars. More importantly, it could give him the performance improvement he needed before the shareholders' meeting. He had 11 weeks. Building a competing system would take years. Claire knew that too. You're taking advantage of my position. Absolutely. Daniel coughed into his fist. Claire didn't blink. Adrian almost smiled again. You've changed. No. Her expression softened for barely a moment. You just don't have the power to punish me for disagreeing with you anymore. That one landed. Adrian closed the contract. When do you want an answer? 48 hours. 72. 48. 60. Claire considered it. Fine. She stood. Daniel gathered his papers. Adrian remained seated. Claire. She paused. It was the first time he had used her first name since she entered. Daniel glanced between them. Adrian had a dozen questions. Where had she gone after he fired her? How long had Bennett Kim existed? Why hadn't she challenged her termination? And one question he had avoided for 6 months. Had he been wrong? Instead, he asked, "If I sign this, when can your team begin?" Immediately. You already prepared them? Claire looked at him. I knew you'd sign before I walked through the door. The confidence should have infuriated him. Maybe it did. But as she turned toward the exit, Adrian realized he was watching her leave exactly as he had 6 months earlier. Only this time, she wasn't carrying a box from an office she had lost. She owned the technology his company needed to survive. The door closed. Daniel followed her. Adrian's attorney waited several seconds. Do you want my opinion? No. You're going to sign it. Adrian looked at the contract again. Claire had built protections into nearly every page. Protections against interference. Against termination. Against him. Yes. His attorney nodded slowly. Adrian turned toward the windows overlooking Chicago. 11 weeks before the shareholders' meeting. 17% under Northstar's influence. A board beginning to question him. And the best weapon he had against all of it belonged to the one woman who had every reason to watch him fail. 6 months ago, Adrian had decided Claire Bennett was a threat to his company. Now he had no choice but to bring her back inside it. And this time, she would be walking through the doors with power of her own. 3 days later, Claire Bennett walked back into Cole Industries through the same revolving doors she had once left under the watch of security. This time, security was waiting for a different reason. Good morning, Ms. Bennett. The guard handed her a new access badge. Claire looked down at it. Claire Bennett, strategic partner. She almost smiled. 6 months earlier, her employee badge had been taken from her before she reached the sidewalk. Now the company had given her access to the executive floor because Adrian Cole had signed a contract specifically preventing him from removing her without cause. Life had a sense of humor. Daniel stepped through the doors behind her carrying 2 coffees. Please tell me you're enjoying this. Immensely. I knew it. Claire took the coffee he offered. But don't look too happy, Daniel warned. It ruins the intimidating entrance. I'm not trying to intimidate anyone. That's what makes it worse. They entered the elevator. As the doors closed, Daniel's teasing disappeared. You can still change your mind. Claire looked at him. We signed the agreement. I'm aware. I spent 14 hours arguing about it with attorneys. Then why would I change my mind? Because contracts aren't what I'm talking about. Claire knew exactly what he meant. Adrian. I'm fine. Daniel gave her a skeptical look. Claire, the last time you walked into this building, you walked out unemployed. And 6 months later they hired my company. That's the business answer. It's the only answer that matters. Daniel didn't push further. Not yet. The elevator opened onto the 23rd floor. Claire stepped out. Several people noticed immediately. Some smiled. Some looked stunned. Others suddenly found their computer screens fascinating. Claire recognized almost every face. Then she saw one she had hoped not to see so quickly. Marcus Hale stood outside the main boardroom. His expression remained professionally pleasant. Claire. Marcus. I heard rumors. I'm surprised. You usually seem very well informed. His smile tightened. Daniel glanced between them. Marcus extended his hand. "Welcome back." Claire looked at it for half a second before shaking it. "I'm not back." "No? I'm visiting a client." She released his hand. Something cold appeared behind Marcus's eyes. Then the boardroom doors opened. Adrian stood inside. "Are we starting?" Claire walked past Marcus without answering. The room was already full. Department heads from operations, technology, finance, distribution, and cybersecurity occupied both sides of the table. Claire recognized several former colleagues. Adrian had deliberately chosen the largest implementation meeting possible. Fine. If he wanted an audience, she could work with an audience. She sat across from him. Adrian glanced at her badge. "Strategic partner? Your HR department has a flair for drama. I didn't approve the title. That makes me like it more." A few people looked down to hide smiles. Adrian noticed. "Let's begin." The presentation started with coal industry's current distribution performance. It was worse than Claire expected. Shipment delays had increased 12%. Warehouse inefficiencies had risen across 4 major hubs. 3 regional contracts were at risk. Northstar Global had begun approaching coal clients directly. 11 weeks suddenly felt very short. Adrian finished the overview. Nexus goes live in the Midwest network within 30 days. Claire looked up. "No." Silence. Adrian slowly turned toward her. "No? Not the entire network. We discussed the timeline. We discussed implementation. We didn't discuss doing something reckless because your board is nervous." The operations director shifted in his chair. Adrian folded his arms. 30 days is achievable. Technically? Yes. Operationally? No. Explain. Claire stood and walked toward the screen. "Your distribution data isn't clean." She changed the display. Several red indicators appeared across a map. Chicago, Indianapolis, St. Louis, and Milwaukee are reporting inventory movement using 3 different synchronization standards. The technology director frowned. "We standardized those last year." "You standardized the reporting interface, not the underlying warehouse feeds." Claire clicked again. The screen filled with mismatched timestamps. "Your system looks unified because someone designed a dashboard that makes inconsistent data pretty." Daniel looked down, hiding a grin. Adrian didn't. "How long to fix it?" 6 weeks. "We don't have 6 weeks." "Then start with Chicago and Indianapolis. Stabilize them, prove the performance increase, and expand." Marcus spoke from the far end. "The board expects measurable network-wide improvement." Claire turned toward him. "The board should expect accurate numbers. We don't have the luxury of perfection." "This isn't perfection. It's mathematics." Marcus's expression hardened. Adrian interrupted. "If we start with 2 hubs, when do we have results?" 3 weeks. "Meaningful results?" "Enough to demonstrate efficiency gains." Adrian studied the map. "Do it." The operations director blinked. "Adrian, we already allocated teams for all 4. Reallocate them." Claire looked at him. That had been surprisingly easy. Adrian noticed her expression. "What?" "Nothing. You expected an argument. I prepared for one." "Disappointed?" "A little." Several executives laughed quietly. Marcus didn't. The meeting continued. Then they reached personnel. Claire distributed a list. "These are the Bennett Kim employees who will require system access." Adrian scanned the names. His eyes stopped. Noah Reeves. Claire had expected that. Adrian looked up. He worked here? Yes. He left 2 days after you were fired. Correct. Marcus leaned forward. Without notice, Claire turned toward him. Noah resigned according to the terms of his employment agreement. He had access to proprietary development work, which was reviewed by Intellectual Property Counsel before he left. Marcus's voice cooled. That isn't how I remember it. Claire's expression remained calm. Fortunately, contracts rely on documentation rather than memory. Adrian looked between them. Something in the exchange clearly registered. Why is Reeves essential? Claire answered carefully. He's one of Nexus's lead architects. Adrian's eyes narrowed. Since when? Since Bennett Kim began. You recruited him immediately after leaving Cole. He approached me. Not entirely true. Not entirely false. Daniel intervened. Noah's intellectual property has been reviewed by 3 independent firms. Cole Industries has no ownership claim over Nexus. Adrian looked at Claire. She held his gaze. For a moment, 6 months seemed to disappear. They were back in that first meeting. Evidence. Questions. Things Claire wasn't saying. But this time Adrian did something different. He didn't accuse her. Fine, he said. Reeves gets access limited to the Nexus environment. Marcus turned toward him. Adrian. The contract is clear. Claire felt a small, unexpected shift inside her. She ignored it. By noon, the meeting ended. Claire gathered her documents while executives filtered out. Daniel stepped beside her. Lunch? In 20 minutes. Don't stay too long. She glanced at him. Why? Daniel looked toward Adrian, who was speaking with his attorney across the room. Because you get that look when you're arguing with him. What look? The one where you forget you hate him. Claire stared at Daniel. I don't have the look. Sure. He walked away before she could answer. Adrian approached moments later. Kim doesn't like me. Daniel has excellent instincts. I noticed. Claire picked up her tablet. Adrian leaned against the table. Why Noah? We just discussed that. No. We discussed why he's on Nexus. Claire stopped. Adrian continued. He left 2 days after you. Now I discover he helped build the technology my company needs most. Coincidences happen. You don't believe in coincidences. Neither do you. Their eyes met. There it was again. That old rhythm. The irritation. The challenge. And beneath it, something Claire refused to name. Adrian lowered his voice. What were you working on before you left? Several things. Was Nexus one of them? No. But something related to it was. Claire slipped her tablet into her bag. Be careful, Adrian. His eyebrow lifted. That sounds familiar. It should. You said I ignored things 6 months ago. You did. Then tell me what I ignored. Claire looked through the glass wall. Marcus was standing near the elevators, speaking quietly on his phone. For 1 second, he glanced directly at her. Claire's stomach tightened. She turned back to Adrian. Not yet. His expression changed. That's exactly what you said the last time. I know. And look how that ended. Claire stepped closer. That's the difference between us. You still think my firing was the end of something. She picked up her bag. For me, it was the beginning. She walked out before he could ask what she meant. Marcus was gone by the time she reached the corridor. Her phone vibrated. A message from Noah. Someone tried accessing the archived prototype repository this morning. Claire stopped walking. Another message appeared. They used an old coal industries administrator credential. She looked back through the boardroom glass. Adrian stood alone, reading the implementation documents. 11 weeks until the shareholders' meeting. 30 days to prove Nexus worked. And less than 4 hours after Claire returned to Coal Industries, someone was already searching for the technology Marcus had tried to reach 6 months earlier. The war in the boardroom had begun. But Claire was starting to suspect the real battle had never stopped. By 10:30 Thursday night, only 2 offices on the 23rd floor of Coal Industries still had their lights on. One belonged to Adrian Cole. The other had once belonged to Claire Bennett. Claire noticed the coincidence from the glass-walled conference room. Bennett Kim had been assigned for the Nexus implementation team. She tried not to give it meaning. Run it again. Noah Reeves sighed from behind his laptop. Claire, we've run it 14 times. Then 15 will make us feel special. That's not how software works. It's how anxiety works. Daniel, stretched across 2 chairs with his jacket folded beneath his head, opened one eye. She knows. She just refuses to admit she has anxiety. Claire ignored him. The Chicago pilot had performed almost perfectly for 3 days. Then, at 8:17 that evening, Nexus began receiving duplicate shipment records from one of Coal Industries' warehouse servers. Nothing catastrophic had happened yet. But if the corrupted data entered the predictive model during full operation, Nexus could begin rerouting shipments that didn't need rerouting. 3 weeks to produce measurable results for the board. They couldn't afford corrupted data. Noah stared at his screen. Same result. Source? Coal's Legacy Warehouse Gateway. Daniel sat up. Meaning? Meaning our system isn't broken. Claire crossed her arms. That's good news. Noah shook his head. Not really. Something inside Coal is sending us garbage. Claire looked toward Adrian's office. Go home. Daniel stared at her. Absolutely not. She turned toward Noah. Both of you. Claire. You've been here since 7 this morning. I'll trace the warehouse feed with Coal's IT team. Noah hesitated. Call if you see anything strange. Claire knew what he meant. Anything connected to the archived prototype. Anything connected to Marcus. I will. 20 minutes later, Daniel and Noah were gone. Claire remained alone with 3 monitors and coffee that had become undrinkable hours earlier. At 11:15, a voice came from behind her. You still forget to eat when you're angry. She didn't turn around. I ate. When? Today. That's not a time. Claire looked over her shoulder. Adrian stood in the doorway holding 2 paper bags. His tie was gone. His white shirt sleeves rolled to his forearms. He looked less like the CEO whose photograph appeared in business magazines and more like the man Claire remembered from countless late nights 6 months ago. That was precisely the problem. What do you want? Apparently to prevent our strategic partner from collapsing at her keyboard. He placed one bag beside her. Claire looked inside. Turkey sandwich. Mustard. No mayonnaise. She looked at him. You remembered. Adrian's expression changed slightly. I remember useful information. Of course. Strictly operational. Naturally. Claire almost smiled. Almost. They ate while watching the diagnostic program run. For several minutes, the only sound came from the ventilation system. It felt dangerously familiar. There had been nights before the firing when the entire building emptied and Claire remained in Adrian's office arguing over expansion models. Sometimes they had ordered dinner. Sometimes Adrian made coffee so terrible Claire suspected it violated workplace safety regulations. Once, during a snowstorm, they had worked until 2 in the morning because neither wanted to admit the argument could wait. Back then, Claire had told herself their chemistry was intellectual. Nothing more. 6 months had made that lie harder to believe. Adrian broke the silence. "Why didn't you sue me?" Claire stopped chewing. "What? After I fired you?" She put down the sandwich. "You brought food so you could interrogate me?" "I brought food because you hadn't eaten." "Very noble. And I'm asking because I've wondered for 6 months." Claire turned back to the monitor. "A lawsuit would have taken years. You could have challenged the termination publicly. I had more important things to do. Like Bennett Kim. Among other things." Adrian leaned against the desk. "You disappeared." Claire laughed softly. "You sound offended." "I'm curious." "No. You expected me to fight you." "I expected something. And when I didn't?" Adrian was quiet. Claire looked at him. For the first time, she saw something she hadn't expected. Guilt. Not enough to erase what happened, but enough to matter. "You want to know what bothered me most?" she asked. "The firing?" "No." His brow furrowed. "The speed." Claire turned her chair toward him. "You had known me for 5 years. You knew how I worked. You knew how seriously I took confidentiality. Marcus put a stack of papers in front of you, and within hours you decided I was capable of betraying the company. The evidence was strong. The evidence was convenient. It showed your credentials. It showed authentication." Adrian's expression tightened. Claire pointed toward the diagnostic display. "Look at this." She opened a security panel. "Tonight, the warehouse server authenticated every duplicate shipment as legitimate. But it isn't." "Exactly." She brought up another screen. "Authentication tells you which identity a system accepted. It doesn't always tell you who was actually behind that identity." Adrian stared at the data. Claire continued. "The report Marcus gave you 6 months ago showed my credentials accessing the acquisition files. I remember. Did it show the originating gateway?" Adrian didn't answer. "Did it show device fingerprints?" Silence. "Session routing?" His jaw tightened. "No. You never asked." The words hung between them. Adrian looked away. "I should have." "Yes." There was no satisfaction in saying it. That surprised Claire. For months, she had imagined Adrian eventually realizing his mistake. She thought it would feel like victory. Instead, it felt tired. Adrian looked at her again. "Why didn't you tell me this then?" "I tried. You told me the investigation was incomplete. And you told me to be careful." He remembered. Claire could see it. "Then you asked me questions I couldn't answer without putting someone else in danger." "Noah." Claire's expression changed. Adrian noticed. "Was it Noah?" "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." Claire stood. "Don't investigate him. That's an unusual request." "I'm serious." "So am I." She stepped closer. "If you start digging into Noah's life without understanding what happened, you'll make the same mistake twice. Then help me understand." "I can't." "Can't or won't?" "Both." Adrian exhaled. There it is again. "What?" "The wall." Claire gave him an incredulous look. "You fired me." "I know. Publicly." "I know. And now you're frustrated because I'm not volunteering secrets?" "I'm frustrated because you're standing inside my company telling me someone manipulated evidence, but you won't tell me who." Claire's voice lowered. "Because I still don't know who I can trust here." That stopped him. Including him. She didn't need to say it. Adrian stepped back. Before either could continue, the conference room door opened. A woman in an elegant gray coat entered carrying an umbrella. Claire recognized her immediately. Evelyn? Evelyn Cole smiled. Claire Bennett. Adrian looked surprised. Mother, what are you doing here? Your driver told mine you were still working. I was nearby. She hugged Claire before Adrian could object. I heard you were back. Temporarily. So I've been told. Evelyn looked between them. I assume he's being difficult. Mother. Claire smiled. He's remarkably consistent. I'll take that as yes. Evelyn had always been one of the few people who treated Adrian's authority as an amusing inconvenience. She turned toward her son. You know, I told you 6 months ago that you were wrong about her. Adrian's face hardened slightly. Claire looked at Evelyn. You did? Of course. Mother. What? It's true. Evelyn removed her gloves. When Claire worked here, she was the only executive who told you the ridiculous Phoenix expansion would fail. It didn't fail. It lost $14 million. Temporarily. Claire laughed. Adrian looked betrayed. Evelyn smiled. That's what I missed. What? Someone around here laughing when Adrian deserves it. For a moment, the room felt strangely warm. Then Evelyn's expression became more serious. She looked at her son. Your father surrounded himself with people who agreed with him. It nearly destroyed this company once. Adrian said nothing. You were always smarter than that. Her gaze shifted briefly toward Claire. Don't become him now. The words landed harder than Claire expected. Evelyn left 15 minutes later. Adrian returned to the diagnostic screen, quieter than before. At 12:07 a.m., Claire's program finally isolated the corrupted warehouse feed. She stared at the result. Adrian noticed immediately. What? Claire enlarged the routing information. The duplicate data wasn't random. Someone had deliberately injected it. And the administrator account used to authorize the process belonged to a department that had no reason to touch warehouse systems. Finance. Adrian leaned closer. Who has access to that account? Claire didn't answer immediately. She looked at the authorization code again. Then at him. Adrian. Something in her voice erased the remaining softness from the room. What? This wasn't a system failure. She turned the monitor toward him. Someone inside Cole Industries is testing whether they can manipulate the data Nexus receives. Adrian stared at the screen. Claire watched his expression change as the implication became clear. The past wasn't merely haunting them anymore. Someone was recreating it. And this time, Adrian was finally looking at the evidence before deciding whom to blame. At 5:42 the following morning, Claire's phone began vibrating across her nightstand. She had slept for less than 4 hours. The moment she saw Noah's name, she was awake. What happened? Chicago's not the problem anymore. Claire sat up. What does that mean? Indianapolis. Noah sounded exhausted. Someone changed routing priorities overnight. 43 outbound shipments were redirected to the wrong distribution queue. Claire closed her eyes. Can Nexus reverse it? Technically, yes. But 12 trucks have already left. What's on them? Medical supplies, industrial components, grocery inventory. The medical shipment is the problem. Claire was already getting dressed. Where is it? Heading south instead of northeast. Send me everything. She ended the call. Adrian called 11 seconds later. I know. Good. Car downstairs in 20 minutes. Adrian. We're going to Indianapolis. Claire stopped. We? My operations team is already there. Then why do you need me? Because Nexus belongs to you. And Cole Industries belongs to you. Neither fact requires both owners to personally chase a truck across Indiana. This isn't about the truck. Claire understood. The board review was in 5 days. If the pilot failed now, Marcus would have exactly what he needed to argue that Adrian's turnaround strategy wasn't working. "I'll be downstairs in 15. They spent the first hour of the drive working. No music. No unnecessary conversation. Claire sat beside Adrian in the back of the SUV with her laptop open between them. By 7:30, Noah had confirmed the manipulation originated from a Coal Industries administrator account. Again. By 8, Claire had identified something worse. "Look." Adrian leaned toward her. The SUV hit a bump. His shoulder pressed against hers. Neither moved immediately. Claire became uncomfortably aware of how close he was. She shifted the laptop. The rerouting wasn't designed to steal anything. What was it designed to do? Create visible failure. She showed him the timestamps. Whoever did this waited until Nexus began controlling enough traffic for the mistake to appear connected to our platform. Adrian's jaw tightened. Sabotage. That's what it looks like. Marcus needs to know. Claire looked at him. No. Adrian turned. No? Not yet. He's CFO. Which gives him access to half the systems we're investigating. You're accusing him again. I'm being cautious. Based on what? Claire closed the laptop. Based on the fact that every time something happens, Marcus somehow becomes the person supervising the investigation. Adrian looked out the window. Claire knew she had pushed too far. But she wasn't going to apologize. After several seconds, Adrian said, "We keep this between us until we know more." Claire blinked. That wasn't the response she expected. Agreed. By noon, they were standing inside the Indianapolis distribution center. Chaos surrounded them. Forklifts moved between loading bays. Supervisors shouted instructions. Drivers waited beside trucks while the operations team attempted to rebuild the shipment schedule manually. Adrian removed his suit jacket. Claire stared. "What?" "Nothing. You looked surprised. I didn't know you could remove the CEO costume. It's called a jacket." "Good. We agree on terminology." For the next 6 hours, there was no time to argue. Claire rebuilt routing priorities with Noah remotely. Adrian coordinated drivers and warehouse managers. At one point, a supervisor insisted rerouting 3 trucks would violate an internal scheduling rule. Adrian looked at Claire. "Can it work?" "Yes." He turned back. "Then break the rule." Claire almost laughed. They worked remarkably well together. That was the dangerous part. Adrian didn't question her technical decisions. Claire didn't challenge his operational calls merely because she could. By 5:30, the medical shipment had been intercepted and redirected. By 7, 28 of the 43 affected shipments were back on schedule. By 8:15, Nexus had corrected the remaining routes. The crisis was over. Claire stepped outside onto the loading dock. Rain had begun falling softly. She leaned against the railing and closed her eyes. The door opened behind her. Adrian appeared carrying 2 vending machine coffees. Claire accepted one. "You realize these are terrible. It's Indiana warehouse coffee. Show some respect." She laughed. Actually laughed. Adrian looked at her. "What?" "Nothing. You're staring. I haven't heard you laugh like that in a while." The smile disappeared slowly. "Whose fault is that?" He looked down at his coffee. "Mine." Claire hadn't expected the answer. Neither spoke for a moment. Rain tapped against the metal roof. Adrian leaned beside her. "I was wrong about the investigation." Claire turned. "That's not the same as saying you were wrong about me." "No. Why is that harder?" He looked at her. "Because if I was wrong about you, then I didn't just make a bad business decision." Claire waited. "I hurt someone who didn't deserve it." The simplicity of the admission unsettled her more than an elaborate apology would have. She looked away. "Don't do that." "Do what?" Become reasonable. A faint smile appeared. Is it inconvenient? Extremely. Their eyes met. The loading dock suddenly felt much smaller. For years, Claire had known Adrian was attractive. That had never been the problem. The problem was what happened when his intensity stopped being directed at a contract or a spreadsheet and focused entirely on her. He stepped slightly closer. Claire didn't move. For one reckless second, she wondered what would happen if neither of them stopped this. Her phone rang. Daniel. Claire stepped back immediately. Saved by technology. Adrian's expression became unreadable. She answered. Hey! Tell me you're alive. Barely. Daniel exhaled. Noah said you fixed it. We did. We? Claire glanced at Adrian. Adrian's here. Of course he is. She heard the change in Daniel's voice. What? Nothing. Daniel. Claire, just remember why you're there. Her shoulders stiffened. I know why I'm here. Do you? Adrian walked several feet away, giving her privacy. Daniel continued. He fired you in front of 12 people. You spent months pretending that didn't destroy you. I wasn't pretending. Claire. She closed her eyes. I have to go. Just be careful. She ended the call. When she turned, Adrian was looking across the parking lot. Kim? Yes. He worries about you. He's my friend. Only your friend? Claire stared at him. Are you asking me something? No. You definitely are. Adrian drank his coffee. Claire's mouth curved. Interesting. What? Nothing. You've said that twice today. And you've been jealous exactly once. Adrian nearly joked. I'm not jealous. Of course. Claire walked toward the door. Claire. She turned. For a moment, his expression softened again. Then both their phones vibrated. The moment vanished. Claire checked hers. Noah. She opened the message. Her blood went cold. Call me immediately. We have another breach. A second message followed. Acquisition archive. Confidential files accessed at 8:03 p.m. Claire called. Noah answered immediately. Tell me. We isolated the account. What account? Silence. Noah? Claire, you're not going to like this. Adrian approached. She put the call on speaker. Noah continued. The credentials used to access the files belong to an inactive employee. Claire's fingers tightened around the phone. Whose? Another pause. Yours. Adrian went completely still. Claire stared at him. That's impossible. I know. When were my credentials reactivated? According to the system, they weren't. Adrian stepped closer. Then how were they used? Noah answered. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Claire's mind raced. The same pattern. The same accusation. 6 months later. Adrian's phone rang. Marcus Hale. Adrian looked at the name. Then at Claire. Neither spoke. Marcus was calling because he knew. The question was how. Adrian answered. Marcus. Claire could hear his voice through the phone. We have a serious problem. Cybersecurity just detected unauthorized access to the acquisition archive. Adrian watched Claire. I heard. Marcus hesitated. Then you know whose credentials were used? Yes. We need to suspend Bennett Kim's access immediately. Adrian's expression hardened. No. Claire looked at him. Marcus went silent. Adrian continued. Lock the affected server. Nobody touches the logs. Adrian, Claire Bennett's credentials. I know exactly what the report says. His eyes remained on Claire. This time, we're going to find out what actually happened before we decide who's guilty. He ended the call. Claire stood motionless. 6 months earlier, those same circumstances had ended her career. Now Adrian had been given almost the same choice. Evidence on one side. Claire on the other. He had not chosen her. Not yet. But for the first time, he had chosen not to condemn her. And Claire hated how much that mattered. The drive back to Chicago felt nothing like the drive to Indianapolis. The same black SUV. The same two people. But the easy rhythm they had found during the crisis was gone. Claire sat beside the window with her laptop closed on her knees. Adrian had made 3 calls during the first hour, each one short and precise. Lock the acquisition archive. Preserve every access log. No internal investigation until he returned. Most importantly, nobody was to question Claire. That should have reassured her. It didn't. At 11:38 p.m., the SUV pulled beneath Cole Industries. Claire reached for the door. "Upstairs," Adrian said. She looked at him. "It's almost midnight." "I know." "Then whatever you're planning to ask can wait until morning." "No, it can't." There was no anger in his voice. That somehow made it worse. Claire followed him inside. The executive floor was nearly empty when they arrived. 2 security specialists waited outside Adrian's office. He dismissed them. Nobody comes in. The door's closed. No witnesses this time. No 12 executives sitting around a walnut table. No Marcus. Just Adrian and Claire. He placed a printed security report on his desk. Claire didn't sit. "Go ahead." Adrian removed his jacket. "Go ahead with what?" "The interrogation." "This isn't an interrogation." "Then why are we behind a closed door at midnight?" "Because 6 months ago I did this in front of an audience." Claire's expression tightened. "And you think privacy makes it better?" "No." He met her eyes. "I think it makes it different." Claire looked away. Adrian pushed the report toward her. "Your old credentials access the acquisition archive at 8:03 tonight." "I know." "The session lasted 9 minutes." "I know." 27 files were copied. Her gaze snapped back. Noah hadn't told her that. "What files?" "Westbridge." The word hit hard. The failed acquisition. The leap that had destroyed her career. "Only Westbridge?" "Yes." Claire moved closer and opened the report. Her eyes scanned the timestamps. "This isn't random." "I agree. Someone wants you looking at the original case. Or someone wanted something inside those files." Claire stopped. There it was. The doubt. Small. Controlled. But unmistakable. She slowly closed the report. "Ask it." Adrian frowned. "Ask what?" "The question you're trying not to ask." He remained silent. Claire's voice hardened. "Did I do it?" "I didn't say that." "You don't have to." "Claire. Did I access those files?" Adrian exhaled. "I don't know." She laughed once. No humor. "Wrong answer." "What answer do you want?" "The one where after everything you've seen, you know I didn't." Adrian's jaw tightened. "I'm not going to lie to you." "How noble." "I'm trying not to repeat the same mistake." "You're repeating it right now." "No. 6 months ago, I decided you were guilty before asking enough questions. Tonight I'm asking questions. And I'm still the suspect. Everyone with access is a suspect. I didn't have access. Your credentials did." Claire stared at him. The words were almost identical to 6 months earlier. She stepped back. Adrian saw it too. His expression changed immediately. "That came out wrong." "No. It came out exactly right." Claire picked up her bag. "Where are you going?" "Home." "We're not finished." "I am." Adrian moved around the desk. "Claire." She stopped at the door. "I spent 6 months rebuilding something you destroyed in 20 minutes. His face tightened. "You think I don't know that?" "No." I think you're only beginning to understand it. She turned toward him. Do you know what happened after you fired me? Adrian said nothing. Recruiters stopped returning calls. 2 companies canceled interviews after someone mentioned the leak. People I'd worked with for years wouldn't even meet me for coffee because they were afraid being seen with me might become a problem. Her voice remained steady. That made the words sharper. I didn't build Bennett Kim because I had some inspiring entrepreneurial revelation. I built it because you made sure nobody else wanted to hire me. Adrian looked as if she had struck him. Claire continued. So when you stand there and tell me you're only asking questions, understand something. You get to treat suspicion like a professional responsibility. I don't. Suspicion already cost me my career once. I know. No, Adrian. You know what you did. You don't know what it cost. Silence filled the office. Then Adrian said quietly, "Tell me." Claire almost did. For one dangerous moment, she wanted to tell him everything. Noah. Marcus. The copied architecture. The threats. The reason she had chosen silence. But trust wasn't restored because Adrian bought her a sandwich and defended her on one phone call. Not yet. I can't. His expression closed again. Claire nodded bitterly. Exactly. That's not fair. Neither was firing me. She opened the door. Claire, if you walk away now, Nexus fails. She looked back. Then it fails. Adrian stared at her. You'd lose millions. I'll survive. Your company might not. Then I'll build another one. For the first time that night, Adrian looked genuinely shocked. Claire stepped toward him. You still don't understand. I will lose money before I lose my dignity in this building twice. She left. At 8 the next morning, Marcus Hale stood before 6 members of the board. Adrian had slept for less than 2 hours. Claire hadn't returned. Her badge remained inactive at the lobby desk. Marcus changed the presentation slide. Nexus implementation, risk review. The Indianapolis incident delayed 43 shipments, Marcus said. Now we have an unauthorized breach connected to the strategic partner leading the project. Adrian's expression remained cold. Connected by credentials. Marcus looked at him. That's a distinction without much difference. It's the distinction we failed to make 6 months ago. Several board members exchanged glances. Marcus paused. Are you suggesting the original investigation was wrong? I'm suggesting we don't know enough. Richard Lawson leaned forward. How long until the shareholder meeting? 10 weeks, Marcus answered. And North Star? Marcus changed the slide. 18.6%. Adrian looked up sharply. 3 days ago it had been 17. Richard's face hardened. They're accelerating. Exactly, Marcus said. Which is why the board must consider whether Adrian's turnaround strategy is creating more instability than it solves. There it was. Not an accusation. A suggestion. Carefully phrased. Professionally delivered. Adrian studied the man he had trusted for 15 years. For the first time, Claire's warning echoed differently. Every time something happens, Marcus somehow becomes the person supervising the investigation. Marcus continued. If Nexus fails at the upcoming performance review, I believe the board should consider alternative leadership before shareholders force the issue. Nobody spoke. Adrian looked around the table. How many votes? Richard frowned. What? How many board members are already considering replacing me? Marcus answered before anyone else. Enough that you should be worried. Claire was packing files when Daniel entered her office at Bennett Kim. You really suspended the project? Yes. Financially, That's insane. I know. Daniel closed the door. Personally? Claire stopped packing. I don't know. Did he accuse you? Not exactly. Then what happened? He doubted me. Daniel leaned against the desk. Claire, those aren't always the same thing. She looked at him. Don't defend him. I'm not. Sounds like it. I'm defending you from making a decision while you're angry. Her phone rang. Noah. Claire answered. What did you find? I traced the session. She froze. Daniel immediately straightened. And? It didn't originate from your account. I know that. No, Claire. I mean it didn't originate from any normal user terminal. She put the phone on speaker. It came through a dormant administrative bridge. Daniel frowned. Who controls it? Noah hesitated. Finance. Claire closed her eyes. Marcus. Can you prove who used it? Not yet. But there's more. What? The same bridge accessed something else 3 months ago. What? Shareholder records. Claire looked at Daniel. Noah continued. Specifically voting proxies and institutional ownership data. Her anger vanished. This wasn't about framing her anymore. Marcus was mapping shareholder control. Send me everything. Claire ended the call. Daniel stared at her. You know what this means? Yes. If Marcus had been studying voting proxies months before Northstar began increasing its position, the takeover wasn't opportunistic. It was coordinated. Claire grabbed her coat. Daniel blinked. Where are you going? Coal Industries. I thought you suspended the project. I did. Then why are you going back? Claire picked up the security files Noah had sent. Because this isn't about Nexus anymore. Across town, Adrian sat alone in his office staring at Marcus's board presentation. His phone buzzed. A message from Claire. Don't tell Marcus anything. I'm coming. Adrian read it twice. Then he looked through the glass wall toward Marcus's office. For 15 years, Marcus Hale had been the man Adrian trusted when everyone else became a question. Now Claire was asking him to make a choice he should have made 6 months earlier. Not between evidence and emotion. Between convenient evidence and the truth buried underneath it. Adrian locked Marcus's report inside his desk. And for the first time, he began investigating his oldest friend. Claire arrived at Coal Industries at 10:16 that morning. Her strategic partner badge no longer worked. She stood at the security gate watching the red light flash beneath it. For a moment, the symbolism was almost insulting. Then the elevator beyond the lobby opened. Adrian stepped out. He had come down personally. Your access was suspended when Bennett Kim suspended implementation, he said. I know. He held out a temporary executive badge. Claire looked at it. You're letting me back in? I'm asking you back in. There was a difference. She took the badge. Marcus? Board meeting ended 40 minutes ago. He thinks I'm reviewing the Nexus failure with legal. Does he know I'm here? No. Good. They entered the elevator. Neither mentioned the argument from the night before. The silence wasn't comfortable, but it was no longer hostile. Adrian finally looked at her. You said you found something. Noah traced the breach through a dormant administrative bridge controlled by finance. That doesn't prove Marcus used it. I know. Adrian glanced at her. Claire almost smiled. What? 6 months ago, you would have stopped listening after the word finance. His expression tightened. I deserve that. Probably. The elevator doors opened. Instead of heading toward Adrian's office, he led her through a restricted corridor toward a small records room Claire had rarely used during her years at Coal Industries. Inside, 2 laptops waited on the table. Claire looked at him. You prepared. I've had a productive morning. Should I be worried? Usually. He locked the door. Then he placed a folder in front of her. I pulled the original Westbridge investigation. Claire opened it. For the next 2 hours, they reconstructed the week that had ended her career. This time, Adrian didn't read the executive summary. He read everything. Raw timestamps. Security requests. Server maintenance records. Authorization changes. At 12:43, Claire found the first inconsistency. Here. Adrian moved beside her. She pointed to a line buried in a system maintenance report. Tuesday, 10:58 p.m. Administrative Gateway restart. So? My credentials accessed Westbridge at 11:43. Adrian understood. The gateway had been reset 45 minutes earlier. Which means cached authentication tokens could have been reissued. Who authorized the restart? Claire scrolled. The authorization field was blank. Adrian stared at it. That's impossible. Apparently not. He searched another database. The maintenance request had originated from finance infrastructure. Adrian leaned back. Neither said Marcus's name. They didn't need to. At 1:15, Adrian's phone rang. His mother. He almost ignored it. Claire glanced at the screen. Answer. This isn't a good time. Evelyn rarely cares. He gave Claire a look but answered. Mother. Evelyn's voice was loud enough for Claire to hear. Are you busy? Yes. Good. Then I'll be brief. Richard Lawson called. Adrian straightened. Why? He wanted to know whether I still control the Cole family voting trust. Claire looked up. Adrian's expression changed. Why would he ask that? Because apparently someone has been contacting long-term shareholders about supporting a leadership change. Adrian went still. Who? He wouldn't say. Claire pulled out her phone and typed a message to Noah. Check proxy activity against finance access states. Evelyn continued. Adrian, your father nearly lost this company once because he trusted the wrong man. I remember. No. You remember the story. I remember living through it. Her voice softened. Be careful who you protect because of history. Adrian looked toward Claire. I will. Before hanging up, Evelyn added, and if Claire is there, tell her I still expect dinner. Claire smiled. She heard you. Good. The call ended. Adrian shook his head. She likes you more than me. She's intelligent. I walked into that. Completely. For one brief moment, the tension broke. Then Claire's phone vibrated. Noah. She opened the spreadsheet he sent. Her smile disappeared. Adrian. He came around the table. Noah had compared dormant gateway activity against shareholder proxy records. 4 dates matched. On each date, finance infrastructure accessed institutional voting information. Within 72 hours, shell entities increased positions in coal industries. Adrian stared at the pattern. North Star? Not directly. Claire opened another file. These entities are registered through Delaware holding companies. Can we trace beneficial ownership? Daniel can. Adrian looked at her. How? Before Bennett Kim, Daniel worked in corporate compliance. Useful friend. There was something in his tone. Claire noticed. Are we doing this again? Doing what? Being jealous of Daniel. I'm not jealous. Of course not. Adrian returned to his laptop. Claire smiled despite herself. She called Daniel. He answered immediately. Tell me you haven't fallen in love with the enemy since breakfast. Adrian looked up. Claire closed her eyes. You're on speaker. Silence. Then Daniel said, "Excellent." Adrian's mouth twitched. Claire continued before either man could make things worse. "I need beneficial ownership on 4 Delaware entities. Send them." Quietly. How quietly? Marcus Hale cannot know. Daniel stopped joking. "Give me an hour." He needed 43 minutes. 3 of the companies ultimately led to investment vehicles connected to Northstar Global. The 4th was different. Its ownership disappeared behind several layers. Daniel followed the registration trail through Nevada, then the Cayman Islands. Finally, a name appeared. Not Marcus. Hale Advisory Holdings. Adrian stared at the screen. Claire said nothing. "Hale could be anyone," he said. She heard the weakness in his voice. Daniel answered carefully. "The registered beneficiary is Rebecca Hale." Adrian closed his eyes. Marcus's sister. For 15 years, Marcus had sat beside him. Birthdays. Funerals. Board battles. When Adrian's father died, Marcus had been one of the first people at the house. Adrian had trusted him with numbers, contracts, acquisitions, and eventually the financial structure of the entire company. Claire watched something personal collapse behind Adrian's expression. "This still isn't enough," he said. She understood. Not denial. Discipline. "We need the money." Adrian nodded. They began tracing transactions. The shell company connected to Rebecca Hale had received 3 large transfers disguised as consulting fees. Each transfer followed a major operational failure inside Coal Industries. Westbridge. A warehouse automation breakdown. The Indianapolis sabotage. Someone was being paid when Coal Industries suffered. At 5:36 p.m., Claire found the final connection. Look. One payment had arrived from a subsidiary controlled by Northstar Global. Adrian stared at it. There was no explanation left that didn't sound absurd. "Marcus is working with them." Claire spoke quietly. "It looks that way." Adrian stood and walked toward the window. For once, Claire didn't follow. Some betrayals needed space. After several minutes, he turned. "Why?" "Money. Power. Maybe both. He already makes millions. People rarely decide they have enough power." Adrian almost laughed. "Coming from the woman who negotiated veto authority inside my company. Temporary authority. Still ruthless. Thank you." The faint humor vanished quickly. Adrian returned to the table. "If Marcus is helping Northstar gain shareholder control, the annual meeting is the deadline." "Probably 10 weeks." Claire shook her head. "Less." She pointed to the ownership data. "Northstar accelerated purchases this week. They don't intend to wait until the meeting." "Then what are they waiting for?" Claire thought about the sabotage. The failed pilot. The board presentation. Marcus openly questioning Adrian's leadership. A reason. Adrian looked at her. "To call an emergency vote." Silence. The entire strategy suddenly became visible. Damage operations. Destroy confidence in Adrian. Make Nexus appear unreliable. Convince the board that leadership had become the problem. Then remove Adrian before shareholders ever gathered. His phone vibrated. A message from Richard Lawson. Adrian read it. His expression became stone. "What?" He handed Claire the phone. "Emergency board session requested for Monday, 9 a.m. leadership confidence vote." Today was Thursday. 4 days. Not 10 weeks. Claire looked at Adrian. "There's your deadline." He took the phone back. Marcus moved faster than we expected. Claire gathered the financial records. Then so do we. Adrian watched her. You suspended Nexus this morning. I did. And now? I'm still not restarting it. His eyebrows lifted. This isn't forgiveness, Adrian. I didn't ask for it. Good. She held his gaze. But Marcus tried to destroy my career. Now he's trying to take your company. She picked up her coat. For the next 4 days, that makes us allies. Adrian almost smiled. Enemies with a common enemy? Don't get sentimental. Claire reached the door. Where are you going? To get Noah. Adrian's expression sharpened. Why? Claire paused. Because there was one piece of this story Adrian still didn't know. The most important piece. Noah isn't just your former programmer. She opened the door. He's the reason Marcus needed me gone in the first place. For several seconds, Adrian didn't move. Claire looked back at him. Tomorrow morning. Bennett Kim. 7 o'clock. What happens then? Claire's face became serious. You finally hear the part of the story I couldn't tell you 6 months ago. Then she left. Adrian remained alone with evidence that his oldest friend was helping dismantle his company. But for the first time, Marcus Hale wasn't the only man Adrian needed answers from. Tomorrow, Adrian would meet Noah Reeves. And Claire would finally tell him why losing her career had never been the real reason she walked away without a fight. At 6:57 Friday morning, Adrian Cole stepped into the offices of Bennett Kim Technologies for the first time. He had expected something larger. A company controlling technology worth tens of millions of dollars occupied one renovated floor of an old brick building west of downtown Chicago. There were exposed beams, mismatched desks, whiteboards covered with equations, and a coffee machine that sounded as if it might explode. No marble. No executive reception desk. No private elevator. Yet the room felt alive in a way Cole Industries hadn't felt in years. People were already working. Nobody stood when Adrian entered. Nobody looked frightened. Claire appeared from a glass conference room. You're early. 3 minutes. For you, that's practically reckless. Under different circumstances, he might have answered. This morning, he simply asked, "Where's Noah?" Claire's expression became serious. Inside. She led him into the conference room. Daniel Kim stood near the window. Beside him sat Noah Reeves. Adrian remembered Noah as a quiet programmer who rarely spoke during executive meetings unless Claire asked him a direct question. Today he looked older than 29. Nervous too. When Adrian entered, Noah stood automatically. "Mr. Cole." "Noah." Claire closed the door. Nobody sat for several seconds. Finally, Claire gestured toward the table. "This isn't going to be easy." Adrian looked at her. "I didn't come for easy." They sat. Noah placed an old laptop on the table. Claire began. 18 months ago, Noah started developing a predictive routing architecture independently. Before joining Cole? Yes. Noah nodded. The original framework was mine. Cole hired me later to work on warehouse optimization. Adrian looked at Claire. And you discovered his framework. About 8 months before you fired me. She explained that Noah's model could predict disruptions before they became visible in ordinary logistics systems. Claire had immediately recognized its potential and encouraged him to document his pre-existing ownership before integrating any related concepts into Cole projects. Which is why Cole doesn't own Nexus, Adrian said. Correct. Where does Marcus enter? Noah's hands tightened. Claire glanced at him. You don't have to. No. Noah inhaled. I do. He opened the laptop. A series of archived messages appeared. The first time Marcus contacted me privately was 7 months before Claire was fired. Adrian Reed. Marcus had asked Noah for technical assessments. Nothing unusual initially. Then the requests changed. Copies of development files. Access credentials. Information about Claire's strategy projects. Noah refused. Then Marcus sent something else. A financial record. Noah's father had owned a struggling construction business. Noah had secretly used his own savings and personal credit to cover payroll after his father suffered a stroke. Some of the transfers had violated internal disclosure rules at Coal Industries because Noah had borrowed money from a vendor connected to the company. Not criminal, but enough to get him fired. Enough to destroy his father's business if the lender demanded immediate repayment. Marcus found out, Noah said. Adrian's face hardened. He blackmailed you. Noah nodded. At first, he only wanted access. To what? Claire's projects. Claire continued. Then I noticed someone copying development data. Adrian looked at her. That's what you were investigating? Yes. Why didn't you come to me? I didn't know who was involved. You suspected Marcus. Eventually. Why? Noah changed the screen. A message appeared from an encrypted address. Keep Bennett away from the gateway logs or your father loses everything. Adrian read it twice. We traced the message later, Claire said. Not enough for legal proof. Enough for me to know someone with high-level infrastructure access was involved. And you thought it was Marcus? I thought it could be. Adrian leaned back. So when Westbridge leaked? Claire looked directly at him. I knew immediately someone was framing me. Why didn't you tell me about Noah? Because Marcus had already shown he could access confidential financial information. If I exposed Noah without proof, Marcus could destroy him before we understood what else he controlled. Adrian's voice sharpened. You could have trusted me. Claire's expression didn't change. Could I? The question silenced him. She continued. The morning you fired me, I had two choices. Fight publicly and expose Noah, or let Marcus believe he'd won. Adrian stared at her. You let me fire you. I didn't plan on the public humiliation. Daniel looked away. But once you made the decision, yes, I stopped fighting. Why? Claire opened another folder. Because Marcus wanted me inside Coal Industries where he could monitor what I knew. Being fired gave me something he didn't expect. Freedom. Exactly. She had called Daniel before leaving the building. Noah resigned 2 days later. Within a week, they had moved the original algorithm architecture to an independent legal repository. Within 3 weeks, Bennett Kim Technologies existed. Adrian looked around the office through the glass wall. This company started because Marcus forced us to move faster. And Nexus? Claire almost smiled. Marcus wanted the algorithm. So you finished it. We made it better. Adrian was silent. For 6 months, he had imagined Claire leaving Coal Industries defeated. She hadn't been defeated. She had been retreating to stronger ground. You could have destroyed Marcus then, he said. No. Claire shook her head. We had suspicion, messages, technical traces. Nothing directly connected him. So you waited. And watched. Daniel placed another set of documents on the table. Until Northstar started moving. Adrian opened them. Bank transfers. Consulting agreements. Shell corporations. Proxy purchases. Everything they had discovered yesterday was there, but Daniel had added one final piece. A confidential agreement between Hale Advisory Holdings and a Northstar subsidiary. Adrian read the amount. $28 million. His face went still. What does Marcus receive? Daniel answered. Payment after a successful change of control at Coal Industries. Adrian kept reading. And a position. Claire nodded. Northstar intends to break Coal Industries into regional divisions after the takeover. Marcus becomes CEO of the largest one. Nobody spoke. 15 years of friendship reduced to several pages. Adrian finally looked up. The Westbridge leak. Claire answered quietly. It wasn't about Westbridge. What? Westbridge was useful, but Marcus needed something more. She slid another document toward him. He needed you isolated. Adrian frowned. From whom? Anyone willing to challenge him. The meaning came slowly. Claire. Marcus hadn't framed Claire merely because she discovered Noah. He had removed the executive most likely to question financial decisions during the months leading to the takeover. Adrian looked toward the window. He remembered Marcus sitting beside him during the investigation. Calm. Loyal. Helpful. He remembered Claire asking for raw logs. Marcus supervised it. He remembered telling her to be careful. Adrian closed his eyes. I helped him. Claire didn't soften the truth. Yes. He looked at her. I handed him exactly what he wanted. Yes. And you knew? I suspected. Why come back? Claire hesitated. Nexus gave us leverage. Against Marcus? Against you. Adrian almost laughed. Claire continued. I wasn't coming back into Coal Industries as an employee. I needed authority Marcus couldn't quietly remove. The joint venture protected my people and gave me access to the systems. Adrian finally understood. Every clause he had considered insulting had been deliberate. Claire hadn't returned for revenge. She had returned prepared. Daniel's phone vibrated. He checked the screen. His face changed. We have a problem. What? Richard Lawson just moved the board vote. Adrian stood. When? Today. Claire looked at the clock. 8:14 a.m. Daniel continued. Emergency session at noon. Less than 4 hours. Adrian picked up the Northstar agreement. We take this to the board. Claire shook her head. Not yet. He stared at her. We have Marcus. We have documents his attorneys will call circumstantial. What do you want? The original transfer authorization. Daniel understood. The payment Marcus receives after the takeover. Claire nodded. If Marcus personally approved the routing structure connecting Hale Advisory to Northstar, we have him. Adrian checked his watch. Where is it? Claire looked at Noah. Noah opened another system map. Coal Industries Financial Archive. Adrian gave a humorless smile. Controlled by Marcus. Yes. Claire stood. For 6 months, Marcus had believed he had removed the only person standing between him and Coal Industries. Now that woman was standing beside Adrian. Not beneath him. Not behind him. Beside him. Adrian looked at her. If we find it, we end this. And if we don't? Claire picked up her coat. Then by lunchtime, Marcus may control your company. Adrian opened the door. Claire followed. For the first time since she had walked back into his office, there was no argument about who would lead. No battle for control. They had one enemy. One objective. And less than 4 hours to prove the truth. 6 months earlier, Adrian had fired Claire Bennett because he believed she betrayed Coal Industries. Now he finally understood what she had actually done. She had protected the one thing Marcus couldn't be allowed to control. And if Adrian wanted to save the company his family had spent decades building, He would have to trust the woman he once refused to believe. At 8:51 Friday morning, Adrian and Claire entered Cole Industries through the underground garage. They avoided the lobby. Marcus could not know Claire was back. Not yet. Daniel remained at Bennett Kin with Noah, maintaining a secure connection while Adrian led Claire through a service elevator to the 22nd floor. They had 3 hours and 9 minutes before the emergency board session. Less, if Marcus moved again. Inside a restricted IT room, Adrian entered his executive credentials. Access denied. He tried again. Same result. Claire looked at him. Your permissions were changed. Only 3 people can change executive archive permissions. You, the head of cybersecurity. And Marcus. Claire checked her watch. Then he knows you're investigating something. Adrian called Cybersecurity Director Thomas Reed. Where are you? 23rd floor. Come to Archive Room 4. Alone. 6 minutes later, Thomas arrived. He examined the access record and frowned. Your archive privileges were modified at 6:12 this morning. By whom? Thomas hesitated. Finance Administration. Adrian didn't react. Restore them. I need CFO authorization. Adrian stared at him. I'm the CEO. Thomas swallowed. Right. 2 minutes later, the financial archive opened. Claire connected Noah remotely. His voice came through her laptop. Search vendor transfer authorizations between Hale Advisory and offshore consulting accounts. Adrian entered the parameters. Nothing. Claire tried Northstar subsidiaries. Still nothing. 9:37. They searched archived payment batches. Deleted records. Manual authorizations. Nothing. At 10:14, Daniel called. Marcus just entered a meeting with Richard Lawson and 2 directors. Adrian checked his watch. He's counting votes. Probably. Claire stared at the screen. Something bothered her. Why delete the transfer? Adrian looked over. Because it proves the payoff. No. Marcus is a CFO. He knows deleted financial records are recoverable. She stood. He wouldn't hide the transaction. He'd disguise it. As what? Claire thought about Marcus. Controlled. Patient. Never unnecessarily complicated. Then she remembered Westbridge. The failed acquisition. Adrian understood. They searched Westbridge consulting expenses. Dozens appeared. Legal reviews. Property assessments. Integration planning. Then one payment stood out. $4.2 million, Strategic Risk Consultancy. Recipient. HA International Advisory. Claire leaned closer. Open the authorization chain. The payment had been approved through finance. Final authorization. M. Hale. Noah spoke immediately. That's it. Adrian didn't celebrate. Connected to Northstar. Daniel worked from the other end. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Then. Got it. HA International transferred the money to Hale Advisory Holdings. 48 hours later, Hale Advisory entered its confidential agreement with Northstar. Claire exhaled. We have him. Adrian looked at the clock. 10:46. No. Claire frowned. No? We have corruption. We don't yet have sabotage. We don't need everything. I do. Claire studied him. This isn't about saving your position anymore. No. It wasn't. Adrian had spent 6 months believing Claire betrayed him because the evidence seemed convincing. He would not destroy another person's life on evidence that merely seemed convincing. Even Marcus. We prove all of it. Claire looked at him for a moment. They nodded. Okay. At 11:08, Noah found the missing connection. The dormant administrative bridge used to frame Claire had been created 14 months earlier under a finance cybersecurity exception. The approving executive, Marcus Hale. The same bridge had accessed Westbridge. The same bridge had manipulated Nexus. The same bridge had accessed shareholder voting records. A single hidden doorway connecting every event. Claire stared at the evidence. 6 months of waiting. 6 months of rebuilding. 6 months of wondering whether Marcus had covered his tracks too well. It was finally there. Adrian picked up his phone. Legal. Security. My office. Now. Claire touched his arm. Adrian. He looked at her. Don't confront him privately. Why? Because that's what he expects. She glanced toward the ceiling. Let him walk into the board meeting believing he won. At noon, Marcus Hale stood before 11 directors of coal industries. Adrian's chair at the head of the table was empty. Claire watched through a secure video feed from Adrian's office. Daniel and Noah were connected remotely. Marcus began without Adrian. For the past 6 months, Coal Industries has experienced repeated strategic failures under increasingly unstable leadership. He changed the slide. Westbridge. Nexus. Indianapolis. Each failure Claire now knew Marcus had helped create. Northstar's growing shareholder position makes immediate action necessary. I therefore recommend this board remove Adrian Cole as Chief Executive Officer. Richard Lawson looked toward the empty chair. Where is Adrian? Marcus checked his watch. I was informed he's dealing with another operational issue. The doors opened. Adrian entered. Marcus stopped speaking. Adrian wore the same controlled expression Claire had seen hundreds of times. But something was different. He wasn't angry. Claire had learned that Adrian was most dangerous when he wasn't angry. Please continue, he said. Marcus recovered. We were discussing leadership. I know. Adrian sat. Let's discuss yours. The room went silent. Marcus's expression barely changed. I don't understand. You will. Adrian activated the screen. The first document appeared. HA International. $4.2 million. Marcus glanced at it. A consulting payment. To a company connected to your sister. Several directors shifted. Marcus remained calm. Rebecca has investments I don't manage. Adrian changed the slide. Hale Advisory Holdings. Northstar Agreement. $28 million following successful change of control. Marcus's face finally changed. Where did you get this? Does it matter? This material could have been fabricated. Adrian nodded. That's what I thought you might say. Another slide. Administrative bridge. Westbridge access. Claire's credentials. Nexus sabotage. Shareholder records. All connected. Marcus looked around the table. This proves nothing about who used the system. Adrian stared at him. You were right. Claire watched from upstairs. He had learned. Evidence first. Conclusion second. Adrian displayed the final record. A security authentication requiring biometric executive verification. Marcus Hale. The room went completely still. Marcus stopped pretending. You have no idea what you're doing. I think I finally do. Northstar will tear this company apart. Maybe. You'll lose the shareholder vote. Maybe. You needed me. Adrian's voice remained calm. I trusted you. Marcus laughed bitterly. Same thing. No. Adrian stood. I learned recently that they're very different. Security entered. Marcus looked toward the door. Then back at Adrian. "You think Bennett saved you?" Adrian's expression hardened. "No." He glanced toward the camera Claire was watching through. "She saved herself. I'm correcting what I should have corrected 6 months ago." Marcus was escorted out. Authorities waiting downstairs took custody of him for questioning regarding fraud, corporate sabotage, and unlawful financial activity. But Adrian wasn't finished. At 4 that afternoon, Coal Industries held an emergency press briefing. Employees filled the atrium. Board members stood nearby. Reporters gathered behind cameras. Claire remained near the back beside Daniel. "You don't have to stay," Daniel whispered. "I know." Adrian stepped to the podium. He explained that Coal Industries had uncovered evidence of internal financial misconduct and coordinated sabotage. Then he stopped reading his prepared statement. 6 months ago, an employee was publicly blamed for a confidential information leak. Claire froze. Adrian looked directly toward her. "I made the decision." The room became silent. "The evidence presented to me was manipulated. But the responsibility for accepting it without sufficient scrutiny was mine." Claire felt Daniel's hand briefly touch her shoulder. Adrian continued. "Claire Bennett did not betray Coal Industries." Cameras turned toward her. "She was denied the fairness and professional respect she had earned during 5 years with this company. I cannot undo that." His voice remained steady. "But I can state publicly what I should have understood before making a judgment privately." He paused. "I was wrong. No excuses. No qualifications. No request for forgiveness. Just the truth." 6 months earlier, Claire had walked through this same atrium while employees avoided her eyes. Now many of those same people were looking at her. Not with suspicion. With understanding. Some with regret. Claire expected triumph. Instead, her eyes burned. Daniel leaned closer. "You okay?" She nodded. "Yeah." And for the first time, she actually meant it. Across the room, Adrian stepped away from the podium. Their eyes met through the crowd. He didn't smile. Neither did she. Too much had happened for that. Marcus was gone. Her name was clear. Adrian's company was still his to fight for. But the question between them had changed. Claire no longer wondered whether Adrian could admit he had been wrong. He just had. In front of his board. His employees. His shareholders. And the world. Now she had to decide whether correcting the past was enough to earn him a place in her future. 4 months later, Claire Bennett stood at the windows of Coal Industries' 23rd floor and watched the first snow of the season fall over Chicago. The view hadn't changed. She had. Behind her, 12 executives gathered around the walnut conference table where her career had once ended. The same room. The same polished wood. The same city stretching beyond the glass. But there was one important difference. Claire wasn't sitting among Adrian Cole's employees. A silver plaque rested in front of her. Bennett Kim Technologies, strategic partner. Daniel sat 2 seats away, reviewing the final pages of their 5-year joint venture agreement. Noah attended by video from the company's new development center in Denver. And Adrian sat at the head of the table. He looked toward Claire. "Any objections?" Claire glanced at the contract. "Several." Adrian sighed. "Of course." A few executives laughed. Claire turned to page 43. Section 8 gives Coal Industries too much discretion over regional expansion. It gives us reasonable flexibility. It gives you reasonable flexibility. Those aren't necessarily the same thing. Daniel covered a smile with his hand. Adrian leaned back. "What do you want?" Joint approval. You already have joint approval over implementation. Now I want it over expansion. Absolutely not. Claire folded her arms. Then we can revisit the agreement next quarter. Adrian stared at her. Claire stared back. Richard Lawson, still serving as senior independent director, looked between them. Should the rest of us leave? Probably, Daniel said. Adrian ignored him. Fine. Joint approval. Claire smiled. That wasn't so difficult. You've been negotiating that clause for 3 weeks. Persistence is an important leadership quality. When you do it, apparently. Exactly. The contract was signed 12 minutes later. There was no acquisition. Bennett Kim remained independent. That had been Claire's non-negotiable condition. Coal Industries received exclusive North American access to Nexus, while Bennett Kim retained ownership of the technology and control over its development. 4 months earlier, Adrian would have hated the arrangement. Now he understood why Claire insisted on it. Equality wasn't something promised in conversation. Sometimes it needed to be written into the contract. The results had made the argument easier. Nexus increased distribution efficiency by 18% across Coal's Midwest network. Shipment delays fell sharply. 2 major clients renewed long-term contracts. Northstar quietly reduced its position after federal investigators began examining its relationship with Marcus Hale. And at the annual shareholders meeting, Adrian survived the leadership vote comfortably. Marcus had been formally charged in connection with financial fraud and unauthorized access to corporate systems. The legal process would take time, but the evidence connecting him to Northstar had been strong enough to end his career. For Claire, the most important outcome had nothing to do with Marcus. Her name had been restored. Publicly. Several companies that had refused to speak to her 6 months earlier suddenly wanted meetings. She declined most of them. Bennett Kim no longer needed their approval. After the meeting, Claire returned to the temporary office Coal Industries kept for her. Someone had placed flowers on her desk. She looked at the card. Congratulations. Try not to renegotiate the vase. Evelyn. Claire laughed. A knock came from the doorway. Adrian. Those aren't for me. I know. How? The message is charming. He placed a hand over his chest. That's cruel. It's accurate. Their relationship had changed after Marcus was exposed. But not quickly. Adrian had apologized publicly. Claire accepted the apology. She did not immediately accept him. For weeks, they remained business partners and nothing more. No dramatic kiss. No sudden declaration. No convenient forgetting of everything that had happened. Adrian never asked Claire to forgive him. Instead, he changed the things that had made forgiveness difficult. He created independent review procedures for executive investigations. He removed unilateral termination authority in cases involving alleged misconduct. He began asking questions before reaching conclusions. And perhaps most surprising of all, he occasionally admitted when Claire was right without behaving as though it caused physical pain. Progress. Slow, measurable progress. Adrian looked toward the signed agreement on her desk. So that's it. For the contract? Yes. Unless you've hidden another terrible clause somewhere. I haven't. Claire narrowed her eyes. Suspicious. He smiled. There was something different about his smile now. Less guarded. Less like an executive allowing himself exactly 3 seconds of amusement. Claire had noticed other changes too. He left the office before midnight occasionally. He called his mother more often. He stopped treating every disagreement as a contest he needed to win. Not because Claire had transformed him. She would have hated that idea, Adrian had changed because nearly losing his company forced him to confront the kind of man he had become while trying to control everything around him. Claire simply happened to be the person who refused to let him avoid seeing it. "Are you busy tonight?" he asked. Claire looked suspiciously at him. "Why?" "Dinner. We've had dinner. We've eaten food during business meetings. Technically dinner. I'm asking you on a date." Claire said nothing. For perhaps the first time since she'd known him, Adrian looked genuinely uncertain. She enjoyed it more than she should have. "You waited 4 months. You needed time." "I did. And there was the partnership." "What about it?" "I didn't want you wondering whether saying no to me could affect Bennett Kim." Claire's teasing expression faded. That mattered. More than the public apology. More than flowers could have. He had waited until the contract was signed. Until her company was protected. Until he had no professional leverage over her answer. Claire walked toward him. "So now I can say no?" "Yes. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it." "Correct." "Interesting." Adrian sighed. "You're enjoying this?" "Immensely." He started toward the door. "Forget I asked." 7:30. He stopped. Claire smiled. "Pick me up at 7:30. Adrian turned. "Is that a yes?" "Don't make me reconsider." "I wouldn't dare." "You absolutely would." "Probably." For a second, neither moved. Then Adrian stepped closer. The distance between them disappeared. Claire remembered another night months earlier on a loading dock in Indianapolis. Rain. Terrible coffee. A moment interrupted before either admitted what was happening. There was no interruption now. Adrian touched her face gently. He waited. Claire closed the remaining distance. Their first kiss wasn't dramatic. It was slow. Careful. Almost cautious. And that felt right. Because whatever existed between them wasn't built from forgetting the past. It existed because they had finally faced it. When they separated, Claire looked at him. 7:30. "I heard you. And don't send a driver." "I was going to drive." "Good. Anything else?" "No expensive restaurant where everyone knows you." Adrian looked offended. "I know normal restaurants." "Name 3. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Claire laughed. "We'll work on it." 6 months later, Bennett Kim opened its second development office. Noah became Chief Technology Officer. Daniel remained Claire's closest friend, business partner, and occasional source of unwanted romantic advice. Evelyn continued inviting Claire to family dinners while pretending she had no interest whatsoever in whether Claire and Adrian eventually married. And Adrian? He remained difficult. Claire remained stubborn. They still argued. Sometimes loudly. The difference was that neither mistook disagreement for betrayal anymore. One evening, nearly a year after Claire had first walked out of Coal Industries, she and Adrian passed through the lobby together. Claire slowed near the security desk. "This is where they took my badge." Adrian stopped. "I remember. I hated you that day." "I know. For several months afterward too." "I also know." She looked at him. "I don't anymore." Adrian smiled. "That's encouraging." Claire slipped her hand into his. The revolving doors opened. This time, they walked through together. Not CEO and employee. Not victor and defeated. Not even enemies anymore. Just two people who had learned something neither had understood when they first collided. Trust wasn't obedience. Love wasn't control. Forgiveness wasn't forgetting. And equality wasn't about who had more power. It was about knowing that either person could walk away, and choosing freely, to stay. What would you have done in Claire's position? If someone destroyed your trust but genuinely changed, would you give them a second chance, or would some mistakes always be too difficult to forgive?